Picking up from the last episode's teardown of the CFMOTO 500SR engine. While we're at it, let me also explain. Compared to the older 500SR engine, what kind of improvements and optimizations have been made? First off, they added a guard for the clutch cover. Of course, you can also add this to the older 500SR, but you'd have to replace it along with the clutch cover itself. Nothing we can do about that. Technology improves every year. And it's not just this clutch cover. Compared to the older 500SR, this 500SR-R has been improved or upgraded in many areas. Right now, I'm removing the water pump and the oil cooler. Let's open up the clutch cover. The first thing that catches my eye is the liquid gasket sealant. The elasticity of this sealant is incredible. I'll have to ask old Zheng about it later. Look at that, I can pull it so thin and long, and it still doesn't snap. Let me try to stretch it even further. Still won't snap. Pretty nice. I bet all us mechanics love stuff like this. Now, let's start removing the clutch. If I remember correctly, there are 2 upgrades made to the clutch. The clutch brand is still FCC from Japan. The clutch friction plates are also paper-based. These 2 narrow plates on top look identical, but the wide one here is different. They changed it to a helical gear structure. This kind of helical setup is usually seen on high-performance bikes. Let's take a look. This is the old clutch plate. Seeing them side by side makes it very obvious, right? Alright, so that's one improvement. Next is the clutch basket. They modified the tooth profile of the large gear at the back, and the precision of the teeth has also been improved. So, compared to the older 500SR, the clutch noise is much quieter. The entire engine runs a lot more quietly. Here's the oil pump drive chain. This is identical on both the old and new models. They are both sourced from the same place. Let's bring the camera over to look inside the engine crankcase. You normally don't get to see this internal surface finish. Since it's split open, let me show you guys. The internal finish is actually done quite beautifully. Fellow mechanics who often rebuild engines know this. Even on many imported large displacement bikes, manufacturers don't even bother finishing the inside surfaces of the engine. After all, it doesn't affect performance anyway. Of course, it's not just CFMOTO. Other domestic brands are starting to do this too now. Take a look, the timing chain tensioner is right here. This tensioner shares the exact same design as the older 500SR. I've already posted a teardown video of the old 500SR before. Now, let's start removing the cylinder head. The cylinder head structure hasn't changed much compared to the old model. Alright, let's look at the camshafts. As for the camshaft material, whether it's chilled cast iron or nodular cast iron, you can't really tell just by looking. It uses the same material as the 450SR. The camshafts have actually been modified compared to the old model. They altered the cam lobe profile, which effectively changes the power delivery characteristics. This data should show up clearly on a dyno. Why do people say you can never fully drain the engine oil? Look here, areas like the cylinder head all have built-in oil reservoirs. This is to prevent oil starvation on your next cold start, which would otherwise cause severe wear and tear. But of course, this doesn't mean you can skip warming up the bike. pinning the throttle on a cold engine hurts it the most. By cold engine, it means the oil temperature hasn't come up yet. If you rev it out before the oil reaches operating temperature, the engine absolutely hates it. I wonder if you guys have noticed something. With some manufacturers, when you buy a brand new bike, it comes with a built-in protection mode. It limits your RPM for the first few hundred kilometers. They do this to stop you from doing a brutal break-in, which would affect the machine's reliability and overall lifespan. But strangely enough, CFMOTO models don't have this setting. Right out of the box, you get the full rev range. I gotta ask, CFMOTO, where do you get this confidence? Let's check out the spark plugs. It uses NGK dual electrode spark plugs. This press fleet bike has definitely lived a rough life, constantly popping wheelies and bouncing off the rev limiter. But look, there's barely any carbon buildup on them. Since I have to reassemble this bike and return it, I'm not going to split the cylinder block bolts. I'll just pull out one piston to show you guys, and that'll be enough. To make it easier for you to see, let me wipe down the piston crown a bit and check if there's a coating. This piston crown is slightly different from the old 500SR. Its compression ratio should be a bit higher. Let me look up the specs. Yep, the compression ratio is indeed up by 0.2. When designing this engine, they clearly kept weight reduction in mind. Look over here by the clutch basket. It's completely hollowed out. There's absolutely no excess material. Let's look at the cylinder bore. You can tell just by how it catches the light. It's a ceramic plated cylinder. Alright, time to bust out my SATA screwdriver again. Verified the brand, no problem there. First, let's scrape it horizontally. And then, let's scrape it vertically. Let me wipe it clean with my finger. Take a look, guys. You can't see a single scratch. The hardness of a ceramic bore is much higher than standard steel or iron, so this result is completely normal. Basically, as long as it's a ceramic cylinder, you can do this test. After all, domestic ceramic cylinder manufacturers like Chaoyang make products that are incredibly competitive now. Removing the stator/magneto. Look at the coils. It's an 18-pole setup. The power output should easily handle auxiliary spotlights and gear. Though I doubt anyone would install spotlights on a sport bike like this. Since you've watched this far, if you like the video, how about giving us a thumbs up? Now, let's start removing the oil pan. The structure of this CFMOTO 500 engine is identical to their 750 engine. People always ask whose engine these two are copied from. They are actually developed modularly, based on the CFMOTO 450 engine. It counts as an in-house design. I mean, only the cylinder head structure looks a little bit like a Honda. But parts like the cylinder block matching sections don't really look like anyone else's. With internal combustion tech where it is today, borrowing design cues is completely normal. Here is the oil pump. Let's take a closer look at it. The oil pump chain is a Donghua chain. This oil pump chain has actually been reinforced. You can probably tell by looking at the inner link plates. They are clearly thickened. Plenty of brands reinforce their timing chains, but reinforcing an oil pump chain is quite rare. Still, reinforcement is always a good thing. After all, some competing brands have had issues with snapping oil pump chains, which has caused countless headaches for owners. Next, let's split the crankcase. Listen to the sound of these bolts breaking loose. That means the factory torque was applied very consistently, sometimes the hardest thing to convey in a teardown video is the actual tactile feel of removing the bolts. How is the assembly quality? You can feel a big part of it right through your hands. Build quality isn't something that easily translates onto camera. You have to experience it firsthand. And just like that, it's split open. Let's look at the crankshaft. From here, we can see it uses copper journal bearings, visible where marks on the surface are completely normal. They have a tin-plated running-in layer on top. Just spinning the crankshaft a few times during assembly will leave marks. So, you don't need to worry about this. The brand is Xiangxing copper journal bearings. Now, let's look at the timing chain. It uses a Morse chain, which is manufactured under Borg-Warner. Word is this brand's chains are more expensive than BYD's. Let's remove one of the connecting rods. Let's check out the rod bearings. Looking at it this way, it also uses copper bearings. You can tell by the coating on the surface. The brand is also Xiangxing. Let's get a close-up look. Each cylinder also features an under-piston oil jet. Let me take it out to show you guys. See that tiny hole on top? Almost all modern engines have these to spray the cylinder walls and pistons for cooling and extra lubrication. Alright, let's pull out the piston. Take a look at this. It's a forged piston. It also sports a lightweight design. The piston crown doesn't have a coating, and it features narrow piston skirts, which also helps shave off weight. The skirts do have an anti-friction coating. The pistons are made by Shandong, which you can see stamped right here. The piston rings are sourced from Riken. Compared to the older 500SR, meaning the previous model, the manufacturing process of these rings has also been upgraded. Honestly, as an owner of the old model, what can I even say? Buy early, enjoy early, I guess. What about the connecting rods? Take a look at the rod mating surfaces. This indicates it uses fracture split, crack forged, connecting rods. I don't need to over-explain the benefits of fracture split rods anymore. Let me just show you one more time. When the rod cap is mated back together, watch closely. Can you even see the seam line? It's virtually invisible, right? Like I've said for a long time now, manufacturing precision for domestic engines is no longer an issue. See for yourselves, can you spot the seam? Even if you look at it in person, it's incredibly hard to see. Let's check out the crankshaft. Judging by the parting lines, it is a forged crankshaft. Let's pick up the transmission countershaft and take a look. Let's look at its bearing first. Removing the outer rubber dust seal. There are no markings on this side, so we have to check the other side. Keep a close eye out, guys. This bearing is made by NTN from Japan, and it's actually manufactured in Japan. The ones I tore down before used German FAG bearings, but those were manufactured domestically, so the bearings have definitely been upgraded. Also, the anti-Misshift mechanism from the CFMOTO 750 has been passed down to the 500SR. The older 500SR didn't have this. Let me show you a quick comparison. It's these two pieces right here. They look pretty inconspicuous, right? But they prevent the gears from jamming up. That's why bikes like the 750 and the 450 have such smooth gear shifts. Now let's check out the input shaft bearing. We need to remove this retaining plate first. It also uses a Japanese-made NTN bearing. And this electronic rocker arm, along with this electronic decompression cam, have also been upgraded. Man, they really changed a lot of things. Alright, splitting it down to this point completes the teardown. Let's do a quick recap. The overall choice of components is very solid. We have the Morse timing chain, fracture split connecting rods, forged pistons, Riken piston rings, ceramic plated cylinder bores, and a heavy-duty forged crankshaft. Especially this anti-Misshift gear mechanism. I really hope CFMOTO rolls this feature out across all of their bike models. Now for some routine maintenance specs for this bike. Run 95 octane fuel. For an oil and filter change, it requires 3 liters of engine oil. The officially recommended viscosity is 10W40, depending on your local riding temperatures and riding habits. You could also use 10W50. As for the brand, personally, I've been using Shell recently. If your budget allows, step up to Shell Advance Ultra Synthetic. Alright, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, everyone.